The views expressed on this program are not the views of the platform or the presenter.
All right, welcome to today's edition of the Political Podcast. My name is Yowela Chomba. It's good to have you if you're joining us from anywhere in this lovely country, countrywide if it's Bits TV, and of course on Facebook. But of course, Livingstone and Kabwe are also joining us together with Power FM Lusaka. Today's podcast, of course, discuss the same issues, but of course, different views from different guests. So, political landscape, constitutional amendment process, election readiness, and of course other pertinent issues that we have going on. And today we have another important guest with us, Mr. Ackim Anthony Njobu. I have to be careful mentioning the names because I had to ask which one is the first name. But yeah, we've got the President of the Democratic Union, who is Mr. Ackim Anthony Njobu, joining us. Welcome to the Political Podcast.
Thank you so much. Greetings to our listeners and viewers out there on our social media platforms.
Yeah,
thank you.
It's good to have you. I know you're no stranger to our media house,
yes.
But and you obviously keep coming, especially when we get into full gear as we prepare for the elections. Now, let's get into it. I know I've mentioned to our viewers that and listeners that there are those listening to us on radio, Livingstone, Kabwe, and Lusaka, and then those watching us on Facebook, and of course Bits TV on Topstar. The numbers will be open. The phone lines will be open sometime midway so that they can join the conversation, and expect some bombardment of questions and comments.
You're ready for that?
Yeah, ready for that. That's great.
Yes.
Yeah, but let's get into it. You are one of the presidential opponents in next year's elections, the Democratic Union.
Yes.
I think this is a chance for you to tell us more about the DU, and of course what your manifesto is like, so that people can get to know more about your party and yourself.
All right, thank you so much. So the Democratic Union, I'll start with the Democratic Union is a political party that was established to bring about a new era of politics in Zambia, one which prioritizes integrity, transparency, and accountability. But also we formed a Democratic Union so that it could be an alternative, an option to the existing political landscape. At the time we were launching the party, the political landscape was characterized by politics of hatred, bitterness, and revenge. Politicians were just full of insult. We could not see any good politics around that time. So we set up the Democratic Union so that those positive-minded Zambians and politicians can look at the Democratic Union and say, I think this is the vehicle that we can use to transform the country. For us, I think we are focused on the country's underdevelopment rather than politics itself. For a very long time, I personally have been disappointed that we see as a country, we always like politicking. All the times politicking. Even after elections, once we are done with elections, we continue politicking. We don't concentrate on national development. So I wanted to provide the Democratic Union as that alternative vehicle. But also looking at the country, the citizens of this country, wanted to create a platform where opportunities will be available for every citizen, regardless of tribe or region where one comes. So that is very important for us as Democratic Union. Then talking about our core values, we still want to continue to maintain the peace and the freedom that we talk about, that I think we have achieved or attained, but we want to maintain that. We want to bring about unity. We also want to talk about responsible leadership. Then for us as the Democratic Union, what is so unique to us is that we have said we want to be responsible to both man and God. Man, of course, you are the people who are going to vote for us, but also want to be accountable to God, who gives that authority to rule over a country. For me, it's a very serious undertaking. I'm sure you haven't heard that from another political party. We want to be accountable to God, because when you are accountable to God, then you become a responsible leader. What has been lacking in this country is also the aspect of responsibility. Several times we've seen leaders accuse each other. Even when you are aspiring for higher office, you know the challenges that the country is facing. When you are given the opportunity to start lamenting about those problems and pointing fingers, that's not what we want to see. We want to see leaders who are responsible. When you give us the opportunity, we have to say we are aware of the many challenges that this country is facing, and we are going to take them on. We're going to make them our own. Once we make them our own, then we're able to resolve them and even be able to deliver much more progress. But if we refuse to take those challenges and problems and start pointing at the previous regime, then we've already failed. So that's what the Democratic Union is all about. Then in terms of myself, Ackim Anthony Njobu, in terms of political career-wise, I'm a flight engineer. I used to be in the Air Force. I had the privilege to work on the presidential aircraft. We used to sign the plane when the president wants to fly. I certify it that it's fit to carry the president.
That was a tough job.
Yes, it was a very tough job. But one thing that I liked about my career, I've got a military background and also working in the aviation sector, is the issue of discipline. With us in the military, first of all, we prioritize the country's interest before self-interest. Then coupled with the aviation industry, it's full of discipline. You have to be a disciplined person for you to be able to sign a machine. Imagine signing an aircraft that carries 380 people. You know what you're committing yourself to.
Of course,
So you have to be responsible, you have to be disciplined. Why am I talking about discipline? Part of the reason why this country has not developed is lack of discipline. There's lack of discipline, I think, from the leaders, even the citizenry itself. We need that attitude change for us to see discipline as a country. So I'm a flight engineer, then I'm also a fellow of SCCA, I'm a chartered accountant. I'm also an economist, I'm a global investment analyst, as well as an insurance practitioner. So I love to assess risk. Most of the times, if you hear the way I'll be talking about certain things, I also assess risk in opportunities to say, what is the risk here? Sometimes I go further from the speech or aims to understand the agenda behind every transaction and everything that we want to do. So you hear much more of that. And then after I left the Air Force, I was working in the insurance industry, where I was a finance manager for Mayfair Insurance Company. I became the company secretary. Then again, I had an opportunity to be the chief financial officer of the world's leading insurance broking company, Marsh. Then I was also a chairperson of the Alexander Forbes Pension Fund. I left my former employment in February this year to concentrate on politics.
And that leads me to my next question, sir. I mean, you have such a rich CV and other, what I would say, opportunities away from politics that could still, make you expel into higher levels. Why did you join politics, and why at such a high level? Usually, most people would like to enter at the lower levels and rise through the ranks.
I believe the
problem. I'm sure from a risk assessment background, you must have assessed the risk. But why at such a high level?
For me, politics is a calling. It's not a business or employment opportunity. No. For me, it's a calling, responding to a call. I'm offering myself for service to the country. And why enter at high level? You see, the vision that I have is for the country, not really for a constituency or for a ward. No, it's for a country. I'm sure you hear when we begin to talk about our manifesto. So that's why we have to enter at the level of president, not a member of parliament. I was laughing with one of my colleagues to say, there was a time I thought I could maybe stand as a member of parliament, I think in 2021. I didn't have a manifesto to tell the people at the constituency. But now where I've opted to stand at the presidential level, I've got a lot to tell the Zambians. I'm able to explain the vision that I have. So that clearly speaks to what God, I think, has put me in, to be at that higher level, not at that lower level where people usually think you should start. And then we've also got lessons. We've seen quite a number of presidents who wanted to go through the whole process, through the steps to be ward, to be MP. Others have died on the seat because at the time they are supposed to offer that service when Zambians are expectant. They are tired, they're exhausted. I must tell you that politics is exhausting. It's not an easy thing. For me, I've given myself, I think, 15 years to be in politics. After that, I think I have to leave the platform.
Interesting.
And why do I say 15 years? I want when I'm active, because when I'm able to think fast, when I'm energetic, I need to contribute. There's no point for me to want to cling to power when I'm order, when I can't contribute positively. I want to be honest from the onset that what we are building as Democratic Union is a vehicle, a platform of honesty and integrity. We don't want deception. I know most of the times people don't love honest people, don't love people who are truthful, but this is who we are, this is what I am, and this is what I'm bringing to the table. For me, I'm very disappointed with the fact that if you look at Zambia, in 1964 when we got independence, Zambia's GDP per capita was better off than that of China. But today it's a laughable matter to compare Zambia and China. How can you compare Zambia and China? But we can compare from where we are coming from. I believe we need to do a lot of work in this country. If you talk about issues, I know we are going to talk about constitution amendment, but I want to point out one thing. When you talk about delimitation, what is the problem that we are not developing our constituencies? Is it that they are large, or is it that we don't have enough capital? For me, the answer is that we do not have enough resources. So is delimitation a solution to bring about development? Or is it that we need to work extra hard, we grow our government or resource envelope, be able to deploy those resources and do delimitation without worrying where we're going to get resources? This is what we want to talk about as Democratic Union, that we need to help our country. And I want also to just tell the Zambians out there that it is your responsibility, it is my responsibility to develop this country. It's not the responsibility of foreign direct investors, no. This must stick in your head, in your heart, that it is our responsibility, and if we neglect this responsibility, the future generations will come and blame us. A lot of people, especially the UPN, they have put so much trust and hope in foreign direct investment. I'm not saying foreign direct investment is bad, it is good, but the responsibility to develop a country is our responsibility. If I had an opportunity to go and invest in Madagascar there, if my business begins to do well, definitely when I reap the profits, I'll bring them back to Zambia. And I've committed no offense because I stay here. Most likely the capital would have been mobilized from here. So the Madagascans can't blame me because I've gotten my money from there. But one thing that makes me sad, Yowela, is that, you see, we've got foreign investors who are tapping into the resources of this country, and they're very manipulative. Some of us have had an opportunity to work for multinationals. We know what happens in that space. And then also us as Zambians, when we are given the opportunity, we steal from our own country. We go and hide our resources outside here in Europe and elsewhere. And some time back, I used to think to myself, I would hear the President HH tell these CEOs of banks here in Zambia to say, guys, I want you to reduce the lending rate when people are coming or companies are coming to borrow funds for capital for their investments. I was laughing. I said, do you really understand what is happening in this economy? See, the investors taking away resources from this country. You leaders are also stealing from this country and hiding the money outside. Where will the banks get the money to give you at a fair rate? That's why they're lending to us at 28%. If we are all keeping our resources in this country, they would give us at 5%, 10% like other countries are doing. So part of the strategies that we are coming to roll out as Democratic Union is to resolve such issues through what we are calling the capital economic zone.
So let me ask you this. I have to just hold you down there.
Yes.
Why should Zambians have faith in you? Based on what you've said so far, and I'm coming from a point where even some, there's been opinions that some elders have that the country is not ready for a young president. And, you know, they would prefer someone with a pedigree, like we've said, someone maybe starts and has the experience from the grassroots and grow through the ranks. But at this point, why should Zambians have faith in you?
Okay, first of all, I'm standing on a platform of honesty and integrity. So that's one thing I think that is very key and very important. And from a background of discipline, my military and aviation professional, I think I'm well-natured to lead this country. And that's one thing that the Zambians should have hope in. And I have so much hope in this country. The Zambians, I think, have never seen the great potential that this country has. But as for me, I believe in the potential and the promise that this country holds. If you look at Yowela, a country that was able to help these countries around us attain independence, how powerful are we? We are so powerful. If you look at the activity in the recent past, the few weeks that I think that have gone, you see major international faces coming into this country. That tells you a lot. But as a wise person, you must be alert to say, what is happening now that we've got these faces coming into the country? What is it that they have seen? Already the challenge that we have, I think for me, why should we trust a young leader? The challenges that we are facing today are supposed to be resolved by me, not HH, not our fathers. That's why our fathers are struggling to resolve, because these challenges are not for them to resolve. It's our generation that needs to resolve them. We are in the era of AI. They will not understand the challenges that we are facing right now. It's us to resolve them. You, Yowela, and myself are the ones to resolve them. That's why they are struggling to resolve them, and all that they do is always complain, push blame to others. So the Zambia is ready for young leadership because I think I've gathered enough experience both from the public and the private sector, and I think I'm equal to the task. When you look at, you go out of Zambia there, you're looking at a lot of countries have young leaders right now, and we've seen other young leaders do great things such that I think we are all beginning to change the way we reason. In the past, we used to say 5 years is not enough for a leader to make a good difference in terms of development. But a young leader has demonstrated that 2 to 3 years is enough for somebody to demonstrate, if they love their country, that they're able to bring about development. So Zambia's challenges will not be resolved by our fathers. They need to be resolved by us, who understand the challenges that we are facing.
Yeah.
So yes, Zambia is ready to have a young leader. And I must tell you, Yowela, that the company that I was working for, its GDP is equal to Zambia. So if I was working for such a country, for such a multinational company, they trusted me with such a huge responsibility. I believe Zambia should be able also to trust me.
But the argument would be you can't compare, no matter how the GDP is similarities to Zambia, you can't compare running that company and running a country.
Yes, so you see
different aspects, social aspects and economic aspects.
Okay, so I think we incline so much talking about experience.
Yeah.
The leaders that have brought about serious development in this country never had experience. We talk about KK, he never had experience. We talk about FDJ, he never had experience.
Yeah.
I think those people have actually brought about serious change that we are able to point out. And also, when you are leading a country, I think leadership is more about managing a relationship, managing friendships with the people and the communities.
Yeah.
I think that is one aspect that has also been lacking with the UPND. If you recall, during the time of Levi Mwanawasa, who helped Levi Mwanawasa to get that debt relief? It is the church, the Catholic Church. So looking at, there are several players that help, players or partners that help in managing or governing the country.
Yeah.
But what we need is a leader who's got a vision, and above all, a leader who loves his country. If we can get a leader who loves his country, a leader who is patriotic, I believe we have so much, I think, to see in terms of development and transformation of this country.
Yeah.
So for me, that's what is really important. It's not really about experience. Like I've pointed out, KK never had experience, FDJ never had experience, but we could see the contribution that they made.
Yeah.
Traore there never had experience, not coming even from the military, and it's brought about change that the country has never seen before.
Yeah.
So all these are issues that we need to talk about. But above all, what is very, very important is to have a vision and to be patriotic to the country. Some of the challenges that we are facing, we are going through today are because of lack of patriotism. And for me, that's what is very, very important.
Yeah.
And sometimes you see, me, I'm a strong Christian. I believe that God works out things in a different way that sometimes we may not understand. And God has never changed the country's destinies using elderly people, no.
Yeah.
He always looks at the young people, because the young people are easy to work with. The young people are able to, easy to give the vision and run with it.
Yeah.
So this is what is very important for me.
Yeah.
It's not all about experience.
Okay.
Yes, some of us, I think, even the opportunities where I've gone, I never had experience, but I brought about much change in the companies where I worked for.
Yeah.
Some of them have grew to become multinational companies because of the sacrifice and commitment that we provided.
Came from you.
Yes,
yeah.
yes.
So you and many Zambians have, lie on the side of agreeing that the UPND has fallen short of its promises when they were in opposition.
Exactly.
Are you able to maybe list some of their shortcomings over the 4 years and maybe even successes? And then you as the opposition, as DU, what impact would you make as soon as you became, president?
Thank you so much. First of all, I must say that the way we've structured our manifesto is in two parts.
Yeah.
There's what we are calling the emergence and resuscitation plan, where we've got 3 items under that plan, which must be rolled out immediately we are given the opportunity. And the way we structured our manifesto in the emergence and resuscitation plan is that we know the urgency of some of the interventions needed, because we know how the Zambians are suffering right now. We've co-opted in the men in uniform to help us fast track or hasten the process of rolling out these interventions, so that the Zambians can have the benefit within a shortest possible time. For us, we've given ourselves that within 100 days, we should be able to implement the emergency and resuscitation economic plan. So that's how we are going to manage our affairs when given the opportunity. Talking about UPND's performance, for me, first of all, I do recognize that there are a few scores that are there. I know the challenges are many. First, I'll begin by pointing out the scores. If you talk about free education, for me, free education is a good thing, except that I think we rushed to roll out free education. I think it has created more chaos than good. Yeah, but it is a good thing, and I said to the president that I commend you for proposing to legislate free education. Then the other thing is that they had reduced cadreism. I'm sad that I'm talking about cadreism when now they want to bring back cadreism, and they are aware that the reason why PF was removed from power was because of cadreism. So they had tried to contain cadreism cadreism. I know it was there in small pockets, but it was contained, looking at the levels at which it was during the time of PF.
Yeah.
For me, that's a score. Then also when we talk about the increase in CDF, the increase in CDF is a good move, except that the country doesn't have resources, like we've seen many areas where we're still owing our farmers, owing this and that.
Yeah.
Those three areas, I think I do commend them. Then talking about the challenges, I don't want to point out many challenges, but just a few challenges. And the challenges that I'm going to point out are the ones which are basic, which affect everyone. Because if you talk about free education, I think it's not a benefit to everyone. Right now we've seen even teachers in government schools are taking away their children from government schools to private schools because they are aware that if we continue with this on this trajectory, we are going to destroy our children.
Yeah.
So I want to point out basic issues like the issue of the cost of living. The cost of living, I think it's quite unbearable for most of us.
Yeah.
People are having challenges to put food on the table. And then we also talk about the issue of electricity. Electricity, I think it has been the biggest challenge that we have so far. At some point I said, please, we know you have acknowledged that you have failed in the energy sector. Can you take a step further and declare the energy crisis a national emergency so that we can have international and local stakeholders come to your aid?
Yeah.
Yes, so I think that would be very important. Then also talk about the issues of high levels of unemployment. There's a lot of dissatisfaction, especially with the young people, to do with the opportunities. Not enough opportunities have been created for the young people, especially that Bali promised them that it's going to create massive employment opportunities. And you remember during the voting, others were putting on gowns, sending a message that once Bali is in power, employment opportunities will be there.
Yeah.
And they're also talking about the issue of fuel, the exchange rate. So those are some of the issues that I want to point out that have affected our economy. Right now, liquidity, I think we are in a position where liquidity is quite so tight. We don't know exactly what's happening. That's why others are even missing the PF. So these are the basic issues where they have failed. And when we talk about governance also, it has been a huge struggle. We see still that persecution. We hoped, because UPND suffered a lot in opposition, this I must state and acknowledge. We hoped that based on that experience, they could have changed the platform for everyone to be able to change the political landscape so that people can see a different type of leadership. But it seems that bitterness is still there. We can see through Mingalatos, even just arrest of those who are perceived to be from the other camp, where we were even made to start comparing, where we see if there are any offenders aligned to UPND, they are not arrested. All those are issues that we can talk about. At some point, we had that UN rapporteur who came to assess the democratic space here. All those are issues that we want to talk about. The failure to bury our former president. So all those are issues that we want to point out, that point out to leadership failure. So those are issues that I think I would want to talk about in terms of assessing the performance of UPND. So talking about the basic issues, that's why you see we had an opportunity to engage some people when we were checking on the voter registration exercise. Others were blunt, and they told us that we can't waste time to go and register. You politicians are liars. Others we managed to convince that, look at us, we are young, we are not coming here with lies. We are coming with a promise and to give you hope that there's still hope for this country. And those who have not been believing me that there's still hope for this country, look at the people that are coming in this country. If you look at the president of Israel, the prime minister of China, you look at the US trying to reverse their position, all these point out to something. But I don't want us to be asleep. We need to be awake to know why is it that these people are coming? What is it that they have seen in this country? All these are issues that we need to ask ourselves. But us as young people, we are committed to the country's development. And Yowela, for me, I want to leave a good legacy. I want to leave a legacy like the way Keke left a legacy, Mandela and Nyerere. Those people who served the country selflessly. I don't want to be a person who was to be known that I was wealthy, created a name for myself that I was this and that. I want to leave a good legacy of a leader.
So you would declare your assets as required?
Yes, definitely I would do declare to say this is what I have.
This is what I have.
Yes, this is what I have. And of course, when we declare asset, you have to declare to say, I've got business opportunities which are running. They may grow. People of Zambia should understand you. But what I believe in is honesty. You shouldn't be, we all know what goes on in government. We know what opportunities come. You don't expect a president, when they assume the office, that they will remain at the same level. That's not possible. Let's be honest enough. Yes, I was some time back, I was looking at President Obama. At the time he left the office, the children had private jets.
Yeah.
But we are not saying that this is what we are after. But such things, there are opportunities that also come. What we have to do is that we have to put the country's interest first, not personal interest.
Yeah, I'll ask you this. The opposition right now,
yes,
it's fragmented. I mean, there's so many political parties. Some are factions. Do you think that the opposition stands a chance to beat the UPND in the next general elections?
Yes, we
do. The state that they are in.
We do stand a chance. Why do we stand a chance? The Zambians have decided that they don't want UPND.
Okay.
Yes, because they have decided that they don't want UPND, where the opposition still stands a chance.
Yeah.
Part of the challenges that are happening in the opposition, for me, I'm just taking them as a part of the process of sieving to come up with a good leader.
Yeah.
But one thing that you must be aware of, I think, is that once the citizens have resolved, they won't vote for UPND. They'll still vote for opposition. Even if we had the 3 candidate stands, the opposition still will get the larger part of the votes, which means UPND can't score 50+1. Maybe that's why there's that insistence to amend the constitution so that they could change some of the things. But otherwise, do not be worried. I think we still have a bit of time, and I know time is running out, but we still have a bit of time. We as opposition leaders are also working out something in the background that we may not. Are you part of
an alliance?
Well, for me, I want an alliance. I think that first of all, when I want to enter into an alliance, we have to understand what the aspirations of those leaders who are entering into an alliance are.
And if they align with yours.
Yes, they align with ours. To see, we have to pick out traits such as patriotism, that you are really committed to the development of this country. But if I want to pick out that in the leader that we are going to choose, ultimately I would say, let me stand on my own. Because I don't want, first of all, like I've told you, that you have to trust me. I don't want to be part of a vehicle that will betray the Zambians or that will come and shift goalposts. No. We also have to be aligned in terms of our values, what we stand for. Us as Democratic Union, we stand on Christian democracy, which talks about justice, which talks about freedom and advocacy. When we talk about freedoms, we're talking about people should be free to assemble, freedom of religion, expression, all those. And when we talk about justice, we talk about equality of all men. All men are equal before God. So opportunities have to be available for everyone. We shouldn't be looking at Ackim because you come from the Eastern Province, you want to give opportunities to the people of Eastern Province. No, we are one Zambia, one nation. And when we talk about advocacy, we need to speak for the vulnerable in society. All these things have to be there in leaders. But what I want to see, what is more important for me, is the issue of patriotism. Are you really patriotic? Are you really patriotic? What is your manifesto talking about? Yes, you may talk about a good manifesto, but I will assess you based on patriotism. I want to see that aspect, because for me as Democratic Union leader, what I'm talking about is that we need more opportunities to be channeled to indigenous Zambians. Let Zambians begin to participate or benefit from the resource that God has blessed us with. But if I don't pick that up with you as a leader, even if you are famous, I'll say, I won't go with you. I'll still go on my own. Let the Zambians be their own judge, so that in future, in case things go wrong, I won't be part of the people to be blamed. And for me, what I don't want is that our children to come and insult us that we had useless parents that never really worked hard for us. So that's why I don't like supporting issues like debt restructuring. But talking about an alliance, that is open. We are open to that. But of course, we have to make sure that what we are doing is really for the benefit of the Zambians, not ourselves. And also, for me, I believe we still have to build our party. We set up this vehicle as an alternative. And if I talk about an alternative, that means for me, at that particular time, the vehicles that were there, the political parties, were not attractive to me, or we were different in terms of the things that we want to deliver. Yes, so if we talk about our manifesto, when we want to address some of the challenges, we want to address them different from the way others want to address them. So for me, why are Zambians calling for an alliance? Some are saying we have just to kick out UPND. Okay, when we kick out UPND, then what next? We need to have a leader who's got a vision. At some point, the vice president made the funny comment. He said, you can change UPND, you still remain poor. Maybe that could be true, especially if we go back with these people who we usually call the recycled politicians, because they have been the same people. The same people delivering we've seen some ministers even in this cabinet who've been there from 20 years in cabinet. What new thing are they going to bring about in Zambia? When we as Democrats Democratic Union are talking about transformation, it needs to be new ideas that are going to help transform this country. Of course, we appreciate our fathers. They need to take the advisory role. We want them to take the back seat to advise us, but let us be in front to help out in terms of bringing about transformation. Because our vision is to build what we are calling a new Zambia. And a new Zambia can only, we can only achieve that through transformation. Transformation will only come through innovative ideas. For me, I've been calling the young people to come on board because of innovation. For me, I'm very particular with innovation, especially because of my engineering background. I want that aspect of innovation. I'm looking at a country that will begin to export solutions. We shouldn't always be looking to the outside world for solutions. We need to start exporting solutions. When we begin to export solutions, then we would have turned ourselves into a developed country.
Interesting. Now, you did mention something to do with the constitution amendment. What do you think of the process right now? I think as of yesterday, I heard that they're almost done. They've prepared their draft report, which they should present to the president. In your view, do you think the whole process has been something that you can call satisfactory?
No, it hasn't. And I think we still stand by our position. When the whole process started, when the president announced it in Kasama, we said this is not good because I think anything built on deception is not good for us. He said we had all agreed to amend the constitution when we didn't agree. And also went to Mongu and made another statement that you don't know what is in this draft constitution, but you are arguing with me. So for me, we want a process that is transparent and inclusive. What do we mean by transparent and inclusive? We want something. For me, I want a process. Constitution amendment is a very important document. It needs to be initiated by sober, ordinary citizens, people like yourselves who do not have personal interest above national interest. We want people who are going to look out for this country, saying this is what we need to change in the country to help us govern better, to help us manage our resources, to help us fight corruption. This is very important for me. If that's such an important process is initiated by me, there could be bias already. I want also to point out certain issues. Sometimes small things that we do neglect. You see, there was a time I think FTJ introduced the issue of there is no bail if you steal a motor vehicle. It looked like it's a genuine call, but we know that it was trying to fight a personal battle. Then again, even this time around, we've seen the theft of cattle being made non-bailable. It looks like it's a genuine fight, but somebody is trying to champion his personal agenda to say, if you steal my cattle, you're not going to be bailed. Then they go further and declare that we want to be selling to exporting beef to a tune of $1 billion. Is that a national agenda? For me, it's not a national agenda because we don't even know what is required for us to export our beef, to get that beef and export it. So it's a personal agenda. So some of these things, I think we have to be open as Zambians to understand exactly what is happening. So for me, the constitutional amendment, just looking at the way it was initiated, it simply tells you that there's a personal agenda. And if you look at the insistence to amend the constitution when a lot of Zambians objected, just tells you a story that the motive is not good. So for me, we still stand on that ground to say we are not supporting the constitutional amendment process. I'm happy that the church mother bodies and LAS have taken a step to sue the government so that they could stop the whole process. It is very important. One thing that I've been pointing out is to say, when the church opposes something, please take a moment and think twice. The church always fights for justice and fights for the well-being of the citizen. And if they take a different position from where you stand, please take time and analyze why they are refusing or why they don't want to support such a move. For us today, what is more important in our country? Is it the challenges that we are facing, or is the constitution amendment? Why are we channeling resources? Already we are still owing the farmers 6 billion kwacha. How much are we spending on constitution amendment? What crisis do we have in terms of the constitution that we should channel our resources to constitution amendment and push it so hard and like paying the farmers? The farmers are not paid in full, but the rain season has come. We've got this issue of load shedding, which I think has destroyed and disturbed our lives. People are now becoming drunkards because they have to spend time at the bars to charge their gadgets. Why can't we allocate resources to such needy areas and like pushing the constitution amendment, especially at the time when Zambians have said, we don't want this, we want you to address issues that affect us. So we are not supporting the constitution. If you go a step further, I'd say the technical committee, we wanted it to be inclusive, first of all. I would have loved to see LAS on the technical committee. I would have loved to see the church mother bodies on the technical committee. I would have loved to see a representative from UPND on the technical committee. I would have loved to also see maybe two representatives from 2 or 3 opposition political parties, so that the committee is inclusive, not in that current state. I think just having individuals from churches, for me, I feel they are vulnerable to be manipulated, but would have loved church mother bodies to be present. Then looking at the terms of reference also, if you look at the preamble, it talks about capturing the aspirations of the Zambian people. When you go down, it says you're supposed to talk about the issues that were contained in Bill 7. So which means we have been restricted, we've been limited to that. Then we can't open up to make new submissions. So for me, the whole process is not inclusive, it's still not transparent. When they went out, we'll give you the example of Eastern Province. Yeah. They sat in Chipata and others has to make submissions online. Yowela, do you think my uncle in the village can come and make a submission online? Yeah. That's not right. And who was supposed to give them transport money to move from Chikungu to go to Katete to go and make an online submission? Yeah. All those things, I think there are things that we are supposed to talk about.
The committee has said that the online submissions were overwhelming.
They're overwhelming. Whether they're overwhelming, but it's very possible that they only captured people in the urban. Yeah. What about the rural areas? Yeah. You think they are not supposed to be part of the constitutional amendment process? I think that was not right. They needed to, when we talk about inclusivity, we mean about including everyone, even those in the villages. And we had certain chiefdoms, I think from Eastern and also Northern, where they said, we are not ready to make submissions, we need to consult our people. So I think for me that was very important, to be given enough time. The time wasn't also enough for them to consult. What we wanted the most was that the process should be inclusive and transparent. Yeah. And looking at the time where we are faced with so many challenges, Yowela, I think for me it would have been important and prudent to allocate resources to other needy areas than pushing the constitution amendment.
Yeah. So now the draft report is done. They'll present it to the president.
Yes.
But on one side you've got the church mother bodies, the civil society, and some chiefs not in agreement.
Yes.
So what next? What happens next? What do you think the UPND government should do if they really look at it critically in terms of the backlash they've received?
It's also a test on our judicial system. Yeah. I pray that through that legal proceeding, we'll file in an injunction to stop the whole process. Yeah. And I pray that the courts will actually do what is expected of them, so that the whole process is halted until we all say, yes, we can do this. I've talked about leadership. Leadership's about managing relationships and friendships with the community and the people that you are leading. But if the people you are leading are opposing you, why should you go ahead with implementing something that they have refused to support you on? So for me, the whole process needs to be halted. When we are all happy, then we can say, okay, let's support you. If they have been saying there's no opposition, which means they are stating that they are going to win. If they are going to win, why can't they agree with us when we say let's do the constitution amendment after elections, especially at the time when we got know something that is compelling even from yourselves. We want to overhaul the constitution so that at least it can last for a long time. We don't want this piecemeal. Every 5 years we have to get resources and do constitutional. Every government that comes, is that necessary? Maybe it's not necessary.
Would you go and push the agenda of amending the constitution if you became president?
In its current state, yes, it needs to be amended.
What requires change?
Of course, we talk about the issue of wasting resources. If you talk about by-elections, I do support that. And then also maybe delimitation at the appropriate time, it needs to be supported. And maybe also inclusivity. But for me, you see, when you want to do good, you don't need the law. You only need the law to limit you when you want to do wicked things. Yeah. So doing right never requires the law. If we talk about the proportional issue of representation of women and young people, that can be done even in the absence of the law. The political parties can come up with a deliberate plan to say this is what we want to do. For us, we've said we want to make provincial ministers to be women, and this is to be young people. So for us, we've opened the door. That shows already representation from all sectors of society. So you don't need the law to actually implement or to do good. So certain clauses like that one need to be looked at, maybe with wider consultation. How would also do it address the issue of members of parliament overstaying? How can we address that? Because I think we don't believe in one person having the monopoly of knowledge. Yeah. We need people to start change. Change brings about development. That's one thing that I understand. Yeah. So we need to look at such issues. Then the biggest issue is the issue of fighting corruption. It has been a bigger problem in this country. How are we going to help ourselves? The bigger problem lies around the independence of our institutions. How can we help our institutions to be independent? So that's a key issue that needs to be included when we talk about constitution amendment. I think those few I've highlighted are very important to be amended, and any other that the Zambians can bring out to say we want to change this. And when we see value, let's amend it and say, maybe even we include a clause to say maybe the next amendment will happen after 20 years or after 30 years or 50 years. Look at a country, Yowela, you agree agree with me that we need a lot of resources to invest in all sectors of our economy. Yeah. They need our resources. If you talk about the mining sector, up to now we are still struggling to build capacity in mineral exploration, and that's where the issue is again in the mining sector, where we are losing a lot. But in that period where these corporations are doing exploration, that's when they are getting our resources as well. So we need the government to take that role and invest in mineral exploration. How can we attain that? It's when we begin to prioritize areas where to invest in. If you look at should we invest in constitutional amendment or maybe invest in mineral exploration? Yeah. What will happen if we invest in mineral exploration? We find that the benefits will be huge. We would quickly delimit the constituencies, have enough money, and send out to the constituencies and be able to deliver development in quick time. So all those are issues that we need to talk about. Yeah. But it is very important that the constitution is amended, but at the proper time, when we can have a roundtable meeting with all stakeholders and tell them what is it that we need to change without bias from the ruling party. Yeah. That's what I want.
All right. I think we can open phone lines. Let's rope in the viewers and listeners. So please, if you are with us, you can call on 0955 997 997. That's Zamtel, or 0979 192 485. 0979 192 485. That's Airtel. 0955 997 997. So take about 2-3 phone calls, then allow Mr. Njobu to respond. I think we've already got a caller. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. Your name and where you're calling us from?
Thank you, Abdul from Kawe.
If you know Abdul Mishan.
In a psychotherapy, Momelanda Bunosana, Sanafi. That's the leadership which we want to more especially for him when I'm training coffee to say now, talking of Padia Constitution Amendment, but it's in the statute. Machirunda Bunosana, whatever repitamo, but then the report in our submit. Then we church, then name form. Apa inform na church barikana. Then if we time submission is there, very fun that I want to know. So according to you, is it we no constitution amendment because it tapa or Namolo Mudi view about tickets after 2026 election? Then the second, the only encouragement which I can give you is I think for Mr. Pelaparino let's just join to find a Chimocha Cosa. Which are consulting there and the Kota in one alliance, for example, a better alliance. You join in Tons Alliance so that your ideas, Moavita Pomona, no, nothing with some Tons Alliance, maybe things can work out. But following Peka, out that just join the winning team at Tons. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. We have another caller. Good morning. Hello, good morning. Okay, we've missed that caller. So please call us 0955 997 997 or 0979 192 485. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Brother.
Good morning. Please tell us your name and where you're calling us from. We've got Mr. Ackim Anthony Njobu, President of the Democratic Union. Bashmalani from Kitwe. Please go ahead.
If you know Bashmalani Mudishan.
My brother Ngana Mumufire Mwapota kwa mano mwentu ngurusu mwa ikatanga. Unaoshika Ngana Munobu Chushi Vuri Mutialo Vubu Furide, Elu wa UPN Jagini Wasapita, Tikabashani. Kawanti waka fokonzo kwenye vantu. So mwentu ngurusu mwabeni mpema kwa to mutima umo. Mwite mwebe president Jaleshani, no, ikatani ni mpango chako sa. Amali ya constitution ya rishipupa, ngatoka kati mwabuka fikuwa tuyo, mpango au, mkili mwa ikala panchi, abantu bonzo rasu minishanya, amatechi baumfana bonzo nomba amatechi wa NGO balikanya nomba usumile muntu shawine balitenjeka so muite mwa italo tinga chaona iketi abantu bakalira nani noyoni the position mukwate vyo mutima umwe butunguru chibese usala nakera tanzi joina aba mwe mikachani mulubula bina jambe kubuchushwa wetu kamu balitenji balisema malaika bina jambe balikala kwa kula malaika all day tukaba abantu bataka igashani abamabuta libali wabantu abakachana kuno cyari penefintu abantu bari cyula opposition batenge mutima umwe muite mwatungiye nje munenze unga umo tukafunyeka uteko umkwa inatotera.
All right, thank you very much from Kitwe. So I will take one more call and then allow Mr. Njobu to respond or make comment on those phone calls. So 0955 997 997, 0979 192 485. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, how are you?
Fine, thank you, sir. Please tell us your name and where you're calling us from.
This is Mr. Njobu calling within Osaka.
Mr. Njobu from within Osaka. Please go ahead. We've got Mr. Njobu from the Democratic Union.
Good morning, President Njobu.
Please
Good
speak
morning,
up.
Mr. Njondo. How are you?
Please help us with your voice, sir. Please speak up.
Okay. How are you, Mr. Njobu?
I'm well, thanks, Mr. Njondo. How are you?
All right, I'm all right. I'm za mshemaningi. Za mshemaningi, sense of you. That money for is the so vaganga. So, I'm going to do many things that will support them. If we are behind you, what do you support them? Then I come mshemaningi. So that wakati mkangena mtawa manje nshise itu makiwa manje kaya Sylvia mamemo katika otherwise you are behind you ya kusupportani na vote za kupatana mshimushi akitini mtangania ngose maitu kutara trist mkangena mtawa na isa trist matukumbuka kwa mazoka wamena pasasito niala nikana isa tuyaganizile zikuma malingi tungefea.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Njondo. So maybe I'll allow you to just respond to the three callers.
All right. Yeah. Thank you so much. So I think in Zambia ukamba paliwa Mr. Njondo ziko mwambiri for those kind words. Then in Kanyama youths by Mr. Njondo, I'm a young leader. There's no way I can forget my fellow young people. I've been stating one thing that, for example, the Minister of Science, Technology and Innovation needs to be a young person, somebody who can generate ideas, somebody who is able to bring, to monitor any innovations in the country. That can only be done by a young person. So we as the young people really have to take a center stage in leading this country. Nakamba for a long time that innovation is very, very important. And innovation ipezekana imwe my young people ndiye menemunga titandize. That's why Takamba no Kamba is as Democratic Union that tifuna my district commissioner offices yakankale occupied by the young people. So that mambo chitako participate ku national development mu ma district, ma province na ma constituencies yonse. Ngati my ideas yapangi wapajapa ma high table peba gawa na ndrama ma youth walipo na bembe. So that's why we want to do that. That's why nakamba na ma ministers, ma women wafungo nkala ma provincial ministers funa pa table peba gawa ndrama peba chita locate ndrama na imwe mulipo, everyone is represented. That's what we want to do. So if vakuti tekangena mpawa tizachinja chani then taibalako my youth, that's not possible because I'm a young person. Then what I believe in is that, you see, for me our manifesto was not written for us by anyone. Kutoa nati lembela then ukankala tenga power ya soba manifesto yawana kulembela. For me our manifesto is in our heart, is in my heart, it's in my mind. I carry it wherever I go. So skuti muntanati lembela tina kulembela manifesto enda ku radio station ku Power FM ukakambe bwino waone bantu 21-0 lubanja. These are things that are hidden in my heart. So these are what we are going to do ngati matipasa power. Then washimalani kukitwe bachilanda ti tulefo kuposako sana mano pali ya leadership. That we need to unite as the opposition leaders. So now if we are working out things as the opposition political party leaders. But I think a clear direction will be given to you next year, because now we show in this era. So we also have to be careful. We have to also be mindful, even as we resolve to feature one candidate. But we'll see what the environment dictates and what the Zambian people say, because already others have heard others who say no, it's not necessary for all of you to go into an alliance, because that does not show the democracy and diversity. We want different ideas. You need to show us that you are different. How can you then be all one and say there's democracy, there's diversity? That's not a sign of diversity. But we understand the pressures that the people are facing, and they are very much eager. But if I shasano kufumia po UPND, then pari ilia shiria lupapulo bashimalani, indeed I think that wefueko konkanya po pari issue ilia constitution amendment. Tulefueka kuya chita change pa lupapulo when after the general elections, like mwachita point out ama chiefs na church na wakana. So even as political party leaders have said, no, this is not the right time. We are going to support you after the general elections. So I believe in a legal action through the church and laws, we hope it succeeds so that the whole process is halted. Initially, the Constitutional Court said the process wasn't inclusive and transparent, and they formed this sham technical committee to deceive us that they have actually done what the Constitutional Court wanted done. But for me, they haven't done what is expected of them. We want proper consultation with enough time, a lot of submissions to be made, not within 30 days, enough time to be given. And also the process wasn't even in the budget. It indicates that this process is not something that was formed on a good motive. If it was formed based on a good motive, it could have been in the budget to alert the Zambians that next year we want to amend the constitution. And that would have been a clear indication it wasn't going to be in the budget. So then Mr. Abel from Kabwe, thank you so much for those kind words. Then issue your constitution, we have said that we don't want it to continue since most stakeholders have said it shouldn't continue. Like you pointed out, the church, the chiefs, and us, of course, have said we shouldn't continue. So we believe we need the consensus at the point where we say now we want to change the constitution. So my appeal is that we are looking to our judicial system to do the right thing. When the injunction is filed in and when the whole process starts, let them respect what the Zambians want so that then we begin to build confidence in our judicial system.
All right. We have another caller. Good morning. Good morning, sir. Good morning.
Morning.
Please tell us your name and where you're calling us from. Please be clear. Fraser from Mississippi.
Fraser.
Line, Fraser, the line is not so good. Are you able to just maybe adjust your position or call us back later?
What about now, my good boy? About now? I'm sorry to hear about that.
No, that line is terrible. Please try and call us again, Mr. Fraser. So 0979 192 485, 0955 997 997. We have another caller. Good morning.
Yes, good morning. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. Please tell us your name and where you're calling us from.
This is Mr. Zulu calling you from Lusaka.
Mr. Zulu from Lusaka. Please go ahead.
Yeah. Okay. I think my question goes to, like, when you say we, who is we? We Zambian people have agreed to, or who is we, by the way?
Just put context to your question. Please be
okay.
Yeah.
I'm saying when, like, for instance, when people they are against the decision, and then the answer follows says we Zambian people we've agreed.
Okay. Is it in line with the constitutional amendment?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So when you say we, I think the best or the idea there...
In the context of the president when he was in Kasama, or us here as the opposition, in what context?
No, the issue at hand is when we are against the amendments, then it has to be voted.
Yes.
First thing.
Yes.
And the other thing also is when we vote someone into power, we have an issue here in Zambia where you vote someone into power, then a few months later, the person will no longer consider you as important. And then when are we important? Only during voting period or what? I think we deserve respect. I don't know if we can find the ways of where when someone goes astray from the promises and then someone has to be held accountable, something like that. I think what we are going, people are just frustrated.
Yes.
In both angles. So I don't know how we can help to have one, a straight thing where, when someone goes astray, then you don't continue, or he doesn't continue. You just stick to that. You can question someone. You didn't do what you said. What do we do now? Since you didn't fulfill what you said.
Yeah. All right. No, thank you for your contribution.
Thank you.
All right. Yeah, so 0979 192 485, 0955 997 997. Good morning. Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning.
Hello.
Yes, please tell us your name. You're through to the Political Podcast. Tell us your name and where you're calling us from.
Okay, this is JM calling from Makeni here.
JM from Makeni. Please go ahead with your contribution.
Okay. ba Anthony Mulela Ndabwino
Atasha.
Nga chakutila esio mulimu y'abalumendo bonse mu Zambia ndi kyabako bwino no problem twakwata abaiche eba very easy okubakita mislead. Let's hope na imweta mwakabikemu abantu abakubita mislead mukashala na misine abaiche banaze ngombere ekyalo kyesu okukitula pantanji. Pali constitution amendment namulanda fye bwino kwena nasi mfika necho nasumisha nichi nufika bwino nasanga okutila mu Zambia abantu balaba patriotic kuma political parties babamo tababa patriotic ku kyalo kyabo.
Very true.
Nga mwalolisha ama submissions ayaleisa ayo balela ndapo 3/4 ayaleisa support i constitution amendment yalefuma ku region oko UPND yakwata popularity meaning abali kulirya area tabalelolesha pabwafyo obukesa na constitution balelosha pali political party yabo. Muleze fena ngulisha mfumu ku North Western Province shari suminishako ati ndamwalolesha uko talaba popular ba UPND eko baleikana meaning amazambianzi alela ngokutila balava loyo kuli political party zanyensi obaba loyo kuchalo chabo bachicho balaba nichi political party isafye nokupita yapita but Zambia ile shala Yesu.
Amen.
Then nga create no problems umulandu wa patronage. That means we are killing ourselves. Even whenever never kuma regions abele support something wrong na bobe necha chine chiri chikesa bawasha. Why? Means tabale tontonkanya bwino bale tontonkanya se pali political party. So nga tuwafunya mentality mumi tontonkanyishe Yesu yakula support a political party even why it is wrong. Nga yafuma ma brains Yesu ema Zambians. Then tukabombela pamono kusupport omuntu lela ndechinga.
Yeah.
That's why mkasangati ili ngiri nenangu balela ndapafya power inshu mkasanga bambi because they belong to that political party. Bale support afya nisinabobe ne bale chula kuma lights tabakwete but we are supporting meaning they are not thinking properly.
Yeah.
Thank
you very much for that contribution. Right. Yeah, so we'll take one more call and allow you to comment. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Moderator.
Good morning, sir. Please tell us your name and where you're calling us from. You're through to the Political Podcast. Hello? Hello? Okay. Maybe I can allow you to comment. Okay, we have one more call, then we can allow you to comment. Good morning.
Good morning, how are you?
Fine, thank you, sir. Please tell us your name and where you're calling us from.
Thank you very much for allowing me to be on this podcast.
Okay.
Elvis on the line.
Mr. Elvis, where are you calling from?
Within Lusaka.
Within Lusaka.
Specifically, Nali constituents.
Okay, please go ahead.
Thank you very much. Buana guest, how are you?
I'm well, thanks, by Elvis Mulibwanji.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
You know, the problem I've found with you, the opposition,
yes,
you are not united. And this is going to be very difficult to remove President Hakainde Hichilema. Because I've seen bickering in the opposition. Yesterday I was listening to one radio station and there were one political party, a new political party, accusing the other political party of meddling in the affairs of that political party. I'm not going to mention names here. And if you, the opposition, always come and highlight the problems which we are facing, you are talking about electricity, you are talking about the high price of commodities, you are talking about shrinking democracy. But what you don't tell us is how you come and sort out these problems. Yes, we know we are going through these problems, but what are your solutions? None of you opposition have told me how they will come and sort out the issue of electricity when we have a drought like this one which we had. None of you, you always condemn. What are you going to do if we have got a drought? I want a solution from you.
Okay.
This is why we have those undecided voters. Those undecided voters are on the terraces, hearing, listening from you opposition political parties and the ruling party.
Yes.
And if the ruling party is going to show these people that, look, I've done the CDF here, look, I've employed the teachers, look, I've employed the nurses, look, I've employed the servicemen, look at these bridges I've built, look at this, look at it. They are pointing at those things. But you, when you come, you are not pointing at anything which tangible solution which you are going to do for the people of Zambia.
Right.
Talk of the economy.
Yes.
You are talking about the high price of milling. Yes, we had the bumper harvest. What is causing this high price of milling? You are not telling us how you come and sort out this problem. Even when you have a bumper harvest, is it the manipulation of these traders?
Yeah.
Or is it the high cost of production?
Thank you very
You
much, Mr. Elvis.
Let me conclude, my moderator.
Please.
This is our program. Let me conclude.
Please do.
Coming to the Constitution amendment, I think it's very, very heartening for me to hear you crying there. Did you go and submit? If you didn't go, what are you waiting for? Me, I went to submit. If I want to make sure that this amendment doesn't pass, it's you to go and submit so that the numbers of those who are opposing or the numbers of those who are for the Constitution go up. But if you don't go, you are just sitting on the terraces there. What is the right time to amend the Constitution for you? So for me, I think these are the pertinent issues you, the opposition, should be looking into. I'm not going to talk more because you have changed this time up. But
thank you.
It's a sorry sight for you, the opposition. I don't think you can beat President Hakainde Hichilema. With that attitude, President Hakainde Hichilema is going to win with a large margin if you are going to be on those terraces. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Elvis. Okay. So maybe please make comment and then we'll pick up some more phone calls.
Okay, so I'll start with the issue of constitution amendment. Going to the court is part of the submission. That's what Elvis should understand. Our position, I think, hasn't changed. We have been in a position opposing this amendment process. So we said we will not go and make any submissions when we are opposed to the whole process. So I think our submission is the part of the process of going to the court to file in an injunction. That's part of our submission and to make our message clear. Then he talked about the issue of resolving the challenges. How we intend to solve the issue of electricity as Democratic Union is, the first step for me is the issue of patriotism. If you heard Efe Wachilanda Jem Wakumaken, he talked about people being patriotic to the party and not to the country. So for me, I believe right now we're exporting, ZESCO acknowledged that they're exporting how much? 500 megawatts of power. And they committed to claw back 400 megawatts, which has not happened, and we've seen the situation worsening. They were saying it's because of drought. We didn't have a drought last year, and now the rains have started raining, but they continue to afflict the Zambian people. So the first thing for me is the issue of patriotism in sorting out the electricity challenge. That's the first step. We need to bring back power here so that it begins to work for ourselves. We can't be exporting power when we need power here. So that's the first call. Then for us as Democratic Union, for me, I believe we need to also diversify power. And when we talk about diversification, us in the shorter term are looking at building natural gas power stations. And when we build those natural gas power stations, we should be able to resolve this issue. I'm happy this time around people are able to connect our thoughts. Initially, I used to speak about this, but I had a few questions. But when the president of Mozambique came, he talked about natural gas power stations, and I even heard the church now talk about natural gas. So I'm sure they didn't understand when we're talking about these issues. So that's part of the solutions that we want to provide to the Zambian people in resolving this electricity challenge. Then in the longer term, we are looking at building nuclear power stations. For me, nuclear power station will provide us with a lot of electricity that we need. We know we've got uranium in the northwestern province. We've got the whatever we need to be able to help ourselves. But ultimately, the goal for me is that each province should be energy sufficient for it to attract investment. So that's what we want to do. Then we also need to make sure that these interconnectors that we've been talking about are actually built. For a long time, the UPND has been telling us in the budget there's a cost for building interconnectors, but that is not taking off. So for us as Democratic Union, we want to make sure that we build these interconnectors with countries like Tanzania and other countries which have got excess electricity, so that when we are hit by a drought or hit by energy sufficient by any other reason, we should be able to import and also export at a time that we are able to export. So these are the solutions that we have in terms of addressing electricity electricity challenge. For me, I do not believe so much in solar. Solar it can't drive turbines in certain industries. I believe in diversification into what we call hard energy. So we believe natural gas for us does it. We believe nuclear does for us. So ndiye ma solutions by Elvis mwezofuna kumvera. Then in terms of the cost of living, how are we going to attend the issue of the cost of living? Us as Democratic Union, what we want to come and do is, first of all, we want to come and create a massive employment opportunities so that we give economic power, especially to the young people. For me, I'm very passionate about the young people. When we create these massive employment opportunities, then the young people have economic power to be able to contain the cost of living. How are we going to create these employment opportunities? We are going to set up what we are calling strategic cooperations. In agriculture, we're going to create what we are calling the National Food and Agriculture Corporation. Yeah. In mining, we are going to create what we are calling the Natural Resources Corporation. In engineering and construction, we are going to create what we are calling the National Engineering and Construction Corporation, with the responsibility of infrastructure development. The issue in our education sector, we don't have enough classrooms, so we have got this institution that should come and build schools, come and finish those hostels at the University of Zambia. By the way, I'm very sad I saw students marching, giving a solidarity march to the president after the stoning in Chiwempala. When they are standing in class, why are you, I don't know, we really have a problem in this country. Resources are being given to give the students to go and march instead of buying desks at the university. Now they are complaining that they are sitting on the floor, others are standing during lectures, but they are taking money and giving them to go and march outside. So all this is a sign of poor leadership. So that's what we want to do about the cost of living. We are going to have public commercial farms in all the districts to enhance, to increase to provide enough food in the country so that no one goes hungry. That's what we want to do in addressing the cost of living crisis. Yeah. And at some point, we need to provide subsidies. If we are to support our farmers, I believe we need to provide subsidies. So the Natural Resources Corporation will give us that revenue that we need to provide subsidies, especially in the agriculture sector and fuel, and also be able to help us pay our debt. I don't believe in debt restructuring. We need to pay off our debt, and there's always a way of us paying the debt. By the way, Yowela, I want to tell you something. If you look at activity that is happening in the country now, it speaks something. There's something that is happening in this country. And if we are not careful, we are going to lose that potential. That's why we need leaders like myself who are patriotic to this country. There's a time, I think, when they discovered the copper which town is that in the copper belt? Cobalt on one of on their posts, I think it was in LinkedIn, they said, we have found high-grade copper in Zambia. It's going to make billions for Silicon Valley and counter China's influence in Africa. So you see, what is the intention? When you are celebrating that there's foreign direct investment here, you don't know what the agenda is with them. They're trying to make billions for themselves, and they're trying to counter China's influence in Africa. That's their plan. But you are excited with things, even when they tell you that want to build the Lobito corridor. You are excited, including the president is excited. For me, I'm not excited. Do you know what the agenda is there? Your minerals will be moving from your country to the Atlantic Ocean. Off they go. What is the benefit? You want these small benefits, and you're excited about when we can do much more. Yeah. That's why the Democratic Union is coming to set up what you're calling the Mining Investment Agency, which wants to empower Zambians to get in the mining sector, because we want to build our own citizen billionaires. The way they see the U.S. has built when Bill Gates, when Elon Musk, we want to build our own here. Yeah. We want to have our own Dangotes who are going to invest in the country. We know that these are our own. When we have a drought, why should we go outside? We want to tell these people, buy maize for 3 provinces so that they can buy and help us. Yeah. So those are issues that we need to talk about. So Nakamba Papari, how we are going to address the issue of cost of living through employment creation and through creation of these public mines and electricity, how we are going to resolve it. And also the issue of poor education standards in education. We are going to construct more schools through the National Engineering and Construction Corporation. Yeah. Then there's another game changer that we are coming with, which we are calling the National Technology and Innovation Corporation, which will focus so much on technology and innovation. We want to harness all innovations in the country so that when we harness them, we turn them into solutions. I talked about exporting solutions of the country. We're also going to create the Office of the Innovator General. Somebody will be responsible for identifying these innovations, and also together with the fund that will be coming from the Chiefdom Development Fund that we are going to allocate to research and development. They need to fund young people who come up with ideas. They need to fund them, give them, even create awards so that they entice more people to get into that innovation education space. So that's one thing that we want to do. When we talk about young people, we really got something that on our table. Then for the manufacturing sector, we've been singing this song, let's see, improve on our manufacturing sector, but the problem is capital. How is the Democratic Union going to address the issue of capital? We are going to create what we are calling the capital economic zone, where we are going to mobilize capital for the manufacturing sector. We hope by the time we take over power next year, the Zambia Industrial Commercial Bank will have presence in all the 10 provinces, because there's something that we are working out in the background to come and help our manufacturing sector. Then going to the other, he talked about unit, I think I talked about that. Then by JM from Makeni, he talked something that touched my heart. He talked about patriotism. I talked about patriotism when I just started the program, patriotism, discipline. These things are very, very important. Let's love our country beyond Democratic Union. Let's love our country beyond UPND, beyond PF, and beyond other political parties. Let's love our country. When Ackim makes a mistake as president of Democratic Union, let's tell him that, Ackim, this will not support you because it doesn't align with the country's desire. So we want you to change it. Then at this particular time, we are going to support you. So JM, I was so happy with what you talked about. Machilanda Winosana Pali issue of patriotism to the party. He was talking about constitutional amendment.
Yes.
I won't believe but to talk about it, but I was so touched when he talked about patriotism to the country, not to the party. Then Machilanda, the youths can easily be misled. Yes, I've interacted with youths who have seen have been misled actually. Those I'm able to identify, to say, okay, there's this weakness. But for me, I think I'm reading, I know where I stand and I know what I want for this country. So it will not be easy actually to move me because I know what I want. And for me, I've told you, Yowela, that for me, this is a calling. A calling cannot just be easily shaken. No, I don't believe in that. If somebody knows where he's standing and he believes that it's a calling, if I wanted to be comfortable, I could have continued to be chief financial officer of a national company where I was very comfortable. But I'm going into this space because I know this country needs help. It needs help at this particular time. Already, Zulu, he talked about unfulfilled promises. Part of the reason we had that issue where the president was attacked in Chiwempala is because they promised people on the issue of Sensere that we're going to give you back, and then that issue hasn't been resolved. So I was saying that these are lessons that we need to learn, all of us in leadership, that we need, when we make promises, we need to fulfill them. If you cannot fulfill the promises, go back to the people, tell them that I'm unable to fulfill what I promised you, but we've got another plan. Let's sit down and find another better way of resolving this matter. When you do it that way, then you'll be able to resolve most of these challenges.
All right. So we've got quite a few callers coming through. Let's pick up maybe the last set of callers before we can close. Please tell us your name and where you're calling us from. Good morning.
Good morning, my good moderator. This is David Sebastian under the last born. Mr. Njobu, good morning, sir.
Good morning, under the last born.
Sure. You are speaking very well on the other side. I think among the opposition that we have in this country, you are the right person that I feel like Mr. Anton
Njobu, Mr. Anton Njobu, yes. Ackim Anton Njobu.
Sure, he can be a good president. I think, do you interact with Mr. Mukuri?
Yes, I do. He's our provincial coordinator in Southern Province.
Yeah, I know you interact with Mr. Mukuri. I know that. Actually, you are speaking very well.
Thank you.
When it comes, I come from Southern Province.
Okay.
When it comes to load shedding, the power that we are complaining here, or right now in this country called Zambia. My presidency, I'm not insinuating what you said, but I'm trying to advise you.
Okay.
I can escort you if you have a car.
Okay.
We go we go to Siavonga and see what is happening there.
Okay.
Here in Lusaka, the rain is raining. Do you know that the bumper harvest that we are happy in this country to say we got bumper harvest? Do you know that Siavonga, Chirundu, including Gwembe, there is hunger there? There is the hunger, okay? That is here in Lusaka, we are celebrating this rain which is raining right now. Okay. But when you go to these 3 or 4 districts that I'm talking about right now, Chirundu, Siavonga, Gwembe, Sinazongwe, you will crying. People are suffering there. That's where I'm coming from. I'm inspiring to stand as a councillor next year there in Chirundu. So when you go there, my president, you'll find the people are suffering. There is no water in the Kariba.
Okay.
And I think, as for me, that we think we bring another solution than to depend in the Kariba Dam. There is no water.
Okay.
Where the water used to be, now today when you go there, people, they are playing football. There is a ground there, following those grasses which are there.
Okay.
There is no water.
Yeah. Please conclude. Sure, as I conclude, the best way, Mr. Njobu, is to find another solution than to depend in water. Right.
In water, President Bangaito, it's going to be as our country. We should depend on Kariba.
Right.
Thank you, my president.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mianda. Yeah, 0979192485. We'll pick up maybe two last calls, and then we can allow our guest to conclude. Then we can close today's podcast. We have another caller. Good morning. Hello. Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
Please,
how are you?
Fine, thank you. Please speak up. Yeah, through to the political podcast.
Okay, this is James on the line. Yes.
Jones?
James on the line.
Okay, James on the line. Calling from where, please?
Calling in Shaka.
Okay, please be quick so that we give at least a chance to two more callers, then we can close.
Yes, my thought is you've seen how the UPND are trying by all means to destroy the opposition. How sure are you that if it's rather in the Ichirema, will allow other political parties to stand in 2026? Because going at the, at the way things are moving, when opposition are being arrested in some type of charges, they're being sent to jail, and the judiciary being in shambles for the first time. You see, the judiciary writing an injunction with Ms. Perez calling a woman a man. Do you think this country, in terms of the judiciary, in terms of institutions of governance, you see the police, the deputy inspector general of police campaigning for the president, and you comments appointed cadres in all institutions of governance. Do you think 26 elections will ahead with opposition taking part, Mr. Njobu? So I want to answer me that question.
All right.
Then the other thing here is the issue of corruption cases. We've been told that from last year that some ministers are under investigations by the FCC. Up to now, this is now close to 2 years, there's no information coming forth to say these are the ministers that have been involved in corruption, who are being investigated for, and these are the crimes that are ready to committed. There's nothing. Is there a rule of law?
Yeah.
The number 3, we saw UPND cadres attacking the PF secretary. For a long time, we've been saying that this party is a violent party. Okay, they've been refusing. And their own chairperson says those are their own cadres from where? From Kanyama. Now, why haven't the police arrested those cadres? If there's rule of law here, okay? Because we heard from the UPND secretary calling the church Lucifer, but up to date, they haven't been arrested. They were reported, but haven't been arrested. Is this the rule of law according to the eyes of the UPND when the opposition committed similar crime, the committee, which them are going scot-free with impunity, they are arrested? What kind of rule of law is this?
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mr. Lawrence. Yeah.
Doesn't the president have something to do on his plate or what? Because every person that visits Zambia is in a state house.
Yeah.
When you've got issues that are places in this country, such as your trading, that as well having crowds of power in a day. When hospitals, when you go there, there's nothing, no drugs in hospitals. Why is the president so busy with things that don't matter to the nation, other things that matter to the nation?
Yeah.
What is your take on that?
All right, thank you very much.
You're going to accept if you lose the elections, because at the rate that is going, I don't think you accept.
Yeah, thank you very much. Okay, sorry, Mr. Lawrence, we've got too many calls coming through. We're running out of time. Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning. Okay, yeah, so we'll take one more call, Mr. Njobu. I think
you can take
two more. Okay, fine. Hello, good morning. All right, we lost that caller. So 0979 192 485. Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning.
Hello, how are you?
Hello, please speak up. Tell us your name and where you're calling us from.
Okay, this is Benjamin from Livingston.
Benjamin from Livingston. Please be quick with your contribution, Mr. Benjamin.
Okay. The problem is we in Zambia here is the education system. We learn ABCD 1 + 1. That can't buy millennium. While our friends are busy being taught of industrialization, and here we are complaining of electricity. That should be something to be done by the engineers of this nation, and to prove that the people that we have in our nation can't solve our problems. If we check even someone who is acquiring the hydroxide by the University of Zambia there, they can't do anything. They can't produce.
Yeah.
Yes, so we need the government, not the political party or the ruling party, no, but the national government to change our education system so that our children may be better off in the near future.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
All right, we'll take one last caller, then we can call it a day on the calls. Good morning.
Good morning, sir. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you, sir. Please tell us your name and where you're calling us from. We've got Mr. Ackim Anthony Njobu on the political podcast this morning, the president of the Democratic Union.
This is Mr. Kapiripiri here.
Mr. Kapiripiri, where are you calling us from?
Kanyama, Central Zambia.
Okay, please be quick with your contribution. We have run out of time.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. I would like to congratulate the previous caller. Well spoken.
Okay.
I've been listening to the boss of the president.
Yes, sir.
I obviously and I'm very happy because Bayanka collectively.
Thank you.
And the Pakuyanka, I thought maybe is one of the ruling government. Because Mayanko yao, ndiyo zamene vegetarian. So I was questioning myself, this man, he sounds clever, but what is saying is what is happening today. Because in terms of high cost living, American buy. Why are things expensive? Because some of the things we don't produce ourselves. Some of them because of high costs. But if you have got a government which says in agriculture, let us try to produce our own fertilizer. Let us try to make our own plants who are going to be producing fertilizer, not importing from Iraq or Ukraine. This is the way to go. That's good. He's saying we are going to, but in the government, organization cooperatives, but the current government is employing, not using an umbrella. That is the way to go. That's the same thing. Agriculture is going to employ. That is why government is saying have these loans, cheap loans, empowerment, those who want to get loans so that you can go and produce enough.
Yeah.
When you produce enough, which means you have got production, enough production, and when you have ukafika kujalia vinunka. Ora watu sivavikula, tomato vito ora sivavikula. That is a formula which is good.
So, Mr. Kapiripiri, please wind up.
So, Mr. President, I encourage you forge ahead, follow these formulas, they are working. Otherwise, may God richly bless you.
All right. Okay, so no more phone calls. Let's allow our guests to conclude. You have, unfortunately, have very few minutes to conclude. But
hope we can compress. There are a lot of issues that Mr. James brought.
Yeah, they are similar, but I'll allow you to compress them within 5 minutes.
All right, thank you so much. So thank you so much, Waka Piripiri. Is my father, but he's UPND. Yeah. But I think he has seen that what I tell the Zambian people is something what we can call a diamond.
Yeah.
And I think he has come come to trust me is UPND does cause a lot when I'm on radio stations.
Okay.
And Bagapilipili, what I want to tell you is that part of these things that the UPND is implementing, they actually copied them from us. So that's where you see they are trying to put things in place that look like what we have.
Yeah.
But there's nothing wrong with that. But what I know is that once it's not in their heart, it can never be implemented the way we need to implement it.
Yeah.
Then Benjamin from Livingston also raised a very important issue, the education system. For me, I do agree with him, but I believe we also need to include something very important that has been missing. I know in our manifesto we're talking about overhauling the curriculum. The issue of, we've got two big issues that we need to address in this country to help develop this country. The issue of agriculture and also the issue of mining. I believe we need every citizen to have a component of agriculture and mining in their studies. It was very embarrassing when we had those school children in Kasensele who started picking gold. They didn't know that it's gold. Yeah. So we need our children to know, to have some basic knowledge of understanding the minerals that we have, not studying a caterpillar and venemusolin and what. Maybe that is not necessary. So we need to overhaul our education system so that it begins to speak to our current situation. But then maybe quick to respond also kuri ba James. Ba James palast benzafunsa ati ba HH bakaluzinga power zakavomela. Ivo sininga vansaringeko but wazafuni kuvomela but cheninga kambe vazakavomela ngati bandinga overpower kuline. Why am I saying that? Because you see the truth be told is that you see we've got this problem in our country right now, the issue of vengeance and bitterness. We've seen that we thought the UPND can break it, they failed to break it. So what will happen is if another person aside me takes over as president, they will come and deal with UPND. They'll be weeping and gnashing of teeth in the UPND campus. So for us to see development in our country, we need neutral people like myself. With me, I don't have a problem with UPND or any other political party. I'm saying I want to continue where these people have left from in terms of development. And I don't have a problem. When I come into power, my focus will be on national development, not to start persecuting people, no. If anyone has to be investigated, if you talk about Mwape and other deals that I think are suspicious, we would assign the law enforcement agencies to do that assignment. But not me to start directing the judiciary or to start gathering witnesses across the country or outside the borders to come and arrest people. No, that can never happen with me. I want to focus on national development. I want to work with young people to get those innovative ideas, turn them into solutions for our country. Yeah. So when he loses power, I think he's definitely going to hand over, but he'll be more comfortable handing over to me. Who knows that I don't have any vengeance or any bitterness against him. Yeah. He'll be more comfortable, and that will be good for the country, because I've been speaking to say we need a season of healing in the country. There's been a lot of fighting in the country, which I think it needs not to continue. Name calling each other, so those are not necessary. So you also talked about UPND destroying the opposition through trumped up charges. Yes, it's a tricky thing, but it's reality. That's what we are saying. We are waiting to see how things turn out so that we see how we work as the opposition going forward. But also the judiciary, he talked about concerns with the judiciary. Last year, I think, not last year, early this year, I was saying, I haven't been too comfortable with our judiciary. Remember when UPND took power, they started having those consent judgments to siphon money from the government. I was very disappointed, and I aired my view that I'm not happy. How can you be stealing but legally? So that I wasn't happy with that. So I believe our judicial system can also be neutral and actually support the Zambians, like what JM said, we need patriotism to the country, not to the party. Yeah. That is very important. So that's also an appeal to the court. I was happy when the Constitutional Court ruled that the amendment process wasn't transparent and inclusive. I was happy to say, okay, maybe some comfort there. Then also the statements attributed the Deputy IG, where he was openly declaring his Kadarism and support for the ruling party, said that's not the right thing. That's why some of us, they are denying us permit when we tell them we want to go and launch our party. They are giving us a lot of excuses because we've got people in uniform occupying high offices there who don't want, who are aligned to the party in power when they are supposed to be neutral, when they are supposed to provide a service to the Zambian people. So all these are issues that we need to talk about. Then you talked about the 4 ministers who are being investigated. Sadly, the deputy DG, who was also at the forefront of doing the investigation, was transferred, which means they don't want to fight corruption, that to cut off that investigation concerning those 4 ministers. We pray that the next government maybe can look at all these things. When we talk about the independence of this institution, this is what we're talking about, things to be included in the constitution amendment. And then also talking about UPND, violent party. Yes, UPND and PF have have been violent parties. We cannot run away from this. That's what I've been saying. Going forward, we don't need UPND. We don't need PF going forward. We need neutral people. We need young blood, which is not corrupted with Kadarism, so that they can help this country transform. The Zambians have been clear on this, that they don't want Kadarism. So even that incident that happens at the PF Secretariat, the UPND were just shooting themselves in the foot. Then he talked about leadership in the country where they called the Archbishop and all that, but no arrests were done. Yeah. But opposition political parties are being arrested on the same charges, trumped-up charges. So we pray that the rule of law can be restored at an appropriate time, so that then we have confidence in our institutions. Yeah. Then talking about David Mianda, thank you so much for those kind words. Then I was talking about the issue of load shedding. I think I highlighted the solutions that we have. Then also talking about alternative power. We can talk. I'm very touched that people in Siavonga and Chirundo are passing through a very difficult time. Then we are announcing this bumper best, and everyone else is celebrating excuse me, when our brothers and sisters are suffering there. So we pray that the government can reconsider the export they wanted to do to Malawi, get a portion and give our brothers. We don't need to always ask for assistance from the international community. That's why I talked about building our own cities and billionaires. People can help us when the country is in need. Yeah. We need to start providing local solutions here. That's very, very important. I was happy when the US withdrew their aid so that we can think outside the box and start supporting ourselves. But again, they have come back again to put us in a corner, to put us in a box again. They're already committing 1.5 billion for 5 years. So which means they'll be giving us 300 million every year to support ourselves. But when are we going to start supporting ourselves? We've got a lot of natural resources. If we can stop giving my incentives out my mining houses unnecessarily, then we'll be able to have enough resources to help ourselves. So that is very, very important. Then I also wanted to respond to Mr. Zulu, who was asking, when we say we, who are we saying we? We mean us, the citizens of this country, the ones who've got the authority and power to develop this country. For me, that is really, really very important. Yeah. When we talk about the we, that is important. Then he also talked about leaders changing idea. He highlighted to say leaders don't change, they just review their true self. So some of us, we cannot change because our manifesto is in our heart, and then when we come there, I don't think the heart will be lost, no. But those whose manifestos are written in Ndiwa Jamama Chinja, we've heard people saying I'm the one who wrote the manifesto for this political party, but no one can come out and say I wrote the manifesto for Democratic Union. Yeah. For me, I believe it was just inspired, it's in my heart, therefore to be delivered accordingly. So this is very important, but let's continue to pray for the leaders of this country, so that they stop making wrong decisions and also prioritize our well-being. If you recall some time back, the U.S. ambassador, when he went to State House, he told the president, you have failed to use your resources to better the living standard of your people. That was a very big statement addressing our president. So these are issues that we need to talk about. Dangote almost repeated the same thing. Yeah. He said, without power, there's no development. And when you have developed, you don't need to talk. The development will talk on your behalf. Yeah. So we need leaders who are action-oriented, leaders who love the country. For me, the biggest ingredient we need is patriotism coupled with discipline. This is what is going to help us develop our country. All right. So this is my appeal to the Zambian people, that let them look at Democratic Union. We are not here to play the usual politics. No, we are not deceptive. We mean serious business in terms of developing our country, and we are coming with that integrity and honesty to help this country. So when we appeal to you for help, we are genuine. We don't mean that we want to come and manipulate anyone. Yeah. So please, the Zambian people, look at Democratic Union as an alternative option that is going to help this country. We can be trusted. We are young because we've got a lot of energy to work for this country. That's why we are not odd. So trust in the young people because of the strength that we have and the innovation that we carry that we want to use in this country. Right. And with some of us with our military background, there's a discipline that we carry, that one which speaks about patriotism to the country, not self. So with that, I think we are grounded, well-grounded, and equal to the task to help this country develop. Right. Well, I think on that note, we'll take those as your closing remarks. Thank you so much for coming to the Political Podcast, Mr. Njobu, and all the best to the DU. Hope to have you back again when you're in full gear towards elections next year. Thank you so much, Yowela. Thank you for the opportunity, and thank you to the team around here. Thank you very much. Yeah, so that was your Political Podcast, today's edition. Let's look out for next week, same time. Of course, my name is Yowela, and thank you so much to the callers, some of them usual callers, but overall, thank you for those that were watching and listening. Until next time, have a good day.
This has been the Political Podcast.